Hello everyone. Today I have decided to paint with the three primary colors. I have picked Gamboge, Cobalt Blue and Crimson Lake of Bristol. And these three colors will help me to paint today the most exciting subject. This is the red globe, and I have started sketching my red globes on the Fabriano sheet. This is the A5 size sheet which I have picked for my painting. Try to sketch with a very light hand. Don't make the pencil's marks very dark. I am also trying to maintain the size and the light hand for my drawing. Wherever the changes are required, I'm making those changes here in my drawing. I'm not just trying to copy it exactly. My sketch is almost ready. I'm just giving the finishing touch to the plate here. You can see that my sketch is ready and let's start painting. Prepare a light mix of crimson about 70% and with it diluted with the cobalt blue and start putting a layer on the first grape. Keep your washes very light. Somewhere I will use the under painting technique also. In this grape I haven't used and add a thick mix of crimson and cobalt blue again. I will start adding the texture in each grape. For this, you have to keep changing your colors. You can see here I have put a very thick mix of crimson and cobalt blue. So please don't stick to one consistency. Keep changing the consistency of the color. You can prepare a mix of gamboge and cobalt blue. It will give you a light green color. You can somewhere add that color in the grapes also. As you can see in the live grapes, there are various shades available. So keep changing your shades. Now I am putting a very light layer of the cobalt blue on my second grape and I am keeping it soft and I have added a bit of green also there and then I am adding the violet color here. Now in this mix my cobalt blue is more comparatively to my crimson. Always keep ready with a tissue paper in your hand because wherever you want to lift the color, you need to wipe it off. See, I am lifting the color here because the grapes have some texture on their skin. So for this texture, I won't be adding the white paint, but I will be using the lifting technique to create that texture in the grapes. I will layer it again and again to give the more realistic touch to the grapes. You can see I have started painting my third grape and I have used a underpainting technique for this again with the cobalt blue and the light green shade, and then I have added a mix of crimson and cobalt blue here. After painting 2-3 grapes, you will start enjoying this process of changing the variations in the shades and the layering because you will start understanding how you can build the layers and how you can get it more realistic touch. I enjoyed this process thoroughly. It was so soulful for me to see the color running on my sheet. I was absolutely enjoying this process. Hope you will also enjoy this. In this way, I completed almost all my grapes. I kept changing my shades. You can see it is very visible in the process that I was not restricted to one color. Here you can see my most of the grapes are done, and I have used the lifting technique also, underpainting technique also, and I have used various tints and tones of this color today, and just with three primary colors I was able to achieve this. Now I have started painting the stem of the grapes. I have simply used these two colors, cobalt blue and gamboge. As we know, you can achieve the secondary color green with this. It is somewhat similar to the olive green color here, and I am just putting the base layer this time. Then I will slightly add the bit of crimson to make the shade little bit darker. You can see I have started adding this dark shade somewhere in the stem to give it a nice feel and touch. You can see it is looking somewhat 3D now. I have started adding the shading here a bit more. When I was painting the red globes, I didn't completely ignore the real grapes which are lying in front of me. I'm trying to get the touch, get the shades of that grapes so that it can resemble. This is what where you learn from the realistic paintings, that when you have the object in front of you and you start painting and trying to match the colors with it. Here you start learning the fundamentals and everything. This was a really a surreal experience for me, that how I can improve my drawing skills and painting skills here. I have prepared a very light wash of cobalt blue by diluting the color in the water. A very less pigment I have picked this time, and I have prepared a first wash on the sheet for the plate. To add the highlights, I will keep the sheet white. I will try to intact the whites as much as possible. And now I am adding the base layer of the plate along with the bit of shadow which is created by the grapes in the plate. You can see that I am putting the layer of cobalt blue under the grapes also for this to create an impact of the shadow. For the shadows you can pick cobalt blue or either ultramarine blue, or sometimes you can add purples to create the shadows. I have kept the sheet wet when I was adding the second layer of the purple color here, because then only the color will mix and blend very seamlessly on the sheet. Otherwise you will find the patches and it won't look seamless. So the sheet should be wet when you are layering it. I am again and again building more layers with the more thicker color and just softening the edges with my damp brush. The brush should not be very wet or should not be completely dried. You have to keep your brush damp for this process so that you can soften its edges. I have started finishing the edges of the plate here. Somewhere I am adding some darkness to show the shadow on the plate because of the grapes. So I have added bit more cobalt blue on the plate. For preparing the shadow of the plate, I haven't picked a separate color here. I have just randomly mixed all the colors available in my plate and just diluted. I got this muddy color and I have started painting the shadow. I have kept it very light for the first initial wash, and then I will start adding the pigments more to get it more thicker. As I have told you that first I keep the watery consistency. I have preserved my whites, as I have told you earlier, that I will keep the sheet white as much as possible. I don't want to add another shade. color. I don't want to add white color here. So I just preserved all the whites without even using the masking fluid. I'm giving the final touch to my painting. I'm adding the layers wherever it is required. Either it is shadow or it is the edges of the plate or the shadows for the plate, so that it looks more realistic, more beautiful, more aesthetic. Now it's ready to serve. I'm so delighted to show all of you that how the result is there. Hope you have liked it and hope you have enjoyed this process. Happy painting, happy creating. See you soon.